This is the X Factor podcast. I am your co-host, Coach Brew, riding shotgun. He's right over there. That's Jon S. Rennie at jonsrennie.com. Buy his books. I wrote the forward to one of them. Don't hold that against the man. And down there, if you're watching on YouTube, is the DFE. And that stands for the Director of Everything.
I was going to say freaking everything, but that works too.
You can bleep that out, Parker.
That'll have to be bleeped.
Yeah.
Today on the X Factor podcast, episode number Dose for our friends down under on the other side of the wall down there, just south of Texas, who paid for it, right? Didn't they pay for it, John?
They paid for the wall.
Paid
yes.
for the wall. Yeah, cool. Shout out to everybody that paid for the wall. Anyway, episode Dose 12, we're talking about X Factor locations / destinations. And you'll understand once we jump into the episode why I say locations / destinations. Or if you are one of our friends listening in Louisiana, destination, a location, because you're a Cajun.
Oh, we're going to hear that.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at
Bottom Gun
Coffee, bottomguncoffee.com.
Yes.
They have the most outstanding coffee that you will ever drink anywhere. And they do not make a pumpkin spice latte. So I want to put your mind at ease, people.
Outstanding. Coach Brew, how are you today?
I'm freaking fantabulous, John. And yourself?
I am great. Parker, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Wait, who's Parker? Who's this Parker person?
Is the DFE. It's young Parker, the DFE.
DFE, how's it hanging?
It's
what's shaking, kid?
It's going well.
Good.
So we're going to talk about locations, destinations. Is that what we're talking about? And that have the X factor?
That's correct.
All right.
That is correct. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome. We would like to indoctrinate you and welcome you. And the rite of passage for you to become not just a listener, but a regular, not irregular, a regular, or as we like to call it, a P1 listener. John, yes. Explain P1 to our new friends who are tuned in, perhaps for the very first time because they just found us.
All right. So, on your radio dial, you can actually program your favorite radio stations. And P1 just stands for that first position, that P1 position. We want you to place us on the P1 on your dial. So we are your number one podcast. And those of you who do that, you are a P1 customer. And to do that, you want to share this with your friends. You want to rate and review us, and you want to leave us a message. You want to be part of the family here at the X Factor podcast. So we've got a lot of people that are already day one P1 fans, and that list is growing every day. So please become a P1 fan. You're going to like it. We do give gifts and prizes for those people.
Yeah, let's just talk about that real quick. The fast track to P1-ness.
Yes.
I mean, there's all kinds of penis. There's P1, P2, P3. Those are different penises that you can have on this podcast. If you're a P3, you're just a casual listener. Okay? That didn't sound good. I realize I wasn't talking about the anatomical part. It was a figure of speech. So if you're a P3, you're a casual listener. You might tune in because you happen to see us in your feed on, let's say, iTunes or Spotify, or maybe you're watching on YouTube. You just happen to see new episodes showed up. You tune in, you tune out, whatever. You're just kind of a casual consumer. P2, you've graduated from casual consumer to you're starting to drink the Kool-Aid. And God bless you. It's healthy Kool-Aid. It's good. There's no poison in it. I'm not Jim Jones. It's tasty. It's delicious. It's addictive. You're starting to really enjoy it. You're a P2. You probably subscribe. Maybe you may have done the little thumbs up thing on YouTube. Maybe you liked it or tweeted about it once or twice from your iTunes account or Spotify. God bless you. We love P2s, but we want you to be a P1. We want to change your penis
No,
from P2
wait,
to
what?
P1.
Wait,
I don't think you're saying that right.
no playlist from playlist 2 to playlist
Playlist
1.
1. Okay. Preset 2 to preset 1.
Preset 2.
P1. It's an abbreviation. Your P dash Ness. You guys don't understand what I'm saying. Your minds are all in the gutter, including the DFE and my co-host over there. Your minds are in the gutter. That's not what I'm talking about. These are not anatomical parts. We're not going to get canceled. You don't need to bleep it out. It's a figure of freaking speech. Get on the same page. Get on board now. Okay? So a P1 is the most educated, elevated, sophisticated listener that we have. They aren't drinking the Kool-Aid. They're not casual listeners who are little fence sitters who might be here, might be there, listen every now and then. They're swimming in the Kool-Aid. They love it, and they tell everybody they know.
Yes.
That's a P1.
Yes.
We reward loyalty. We respect, admire, appreciate, and reward loyalty. So if you're a P1 and you leave a crazy comment, you leave a funny comment, you roast one of us, you broast one of us. What's broasting? It's if you're a bro and you roast us, you broast us. And it's fun, it's funny. Maybe you leave us a voicemail on the phone. We love that. You
Yep.
go to thexfactorpodcast.com.
Yes.
You can leave a voicemail for us.
Yep.
You might be featured in the intro. You might be featured in the middle of the show. You might be featured in the outro, which is another word for the end. That's a P1. They are the highest life form on the planet, this planet or any other. P1s.
So what Coach Brew is trying to tell you is to check your penis. Are you a
At the
P3?
door.
Are you a P2 or are you a P1?
Yep.
That's it.
It's that simple. But don't let that stop me from taking a simple, short concept and telling you a long story.
Yes. So check your level of penis.
And if you leave a kick-ass message, what do you win, John? Not you leaving it, like a P2, P3, P1, someone who's elevating in the, someone who's ascending in our universe to become a P1.
Yeah.
Could they win?
So if we get the most outrageous, the most funny, the most crazy message, whether it's on any of our channels, it could be a voice message on the xfactorpodcast.com, we will send you a copy of Coach Brew's latest book, Beyond Stadium Stats, which just got released, and also a copy of my book, I Have the Watch, and that book was released last year. We'll send you each a copy of the book. Both Coach Brew and I are best-selling authors. Coach Brew is actually an award-winning author.
Smelling in my case. I'm best-smelling author. I've been told I smell
I don't
great.
know. Yeah.
Like rich Corinthian leather.
Hey, I haven't heard that in a long time.
And you could potentially win a P1 shirt.
Yes.
Potentially.
Day one, P1, baby. Yep.
And most outrageous comment, voice message, whatever
roast.
it may be.
Yeah, like a roast.
Whatever it may be will be featured in the video.
And
We'll shout
could
it out.
win.
Huh?
What could they win, Parker? Roast. Keyword roast. John.
Oh, yeah. And they could potentially also win a good roast of sorts from Bottom Gun Coffee. So don't be a loser and be a P3 or P2. Let's just be real. Be a P1. Yep.
I think our P1 shirts should say, check your penis.
Yep, exactly. You want to be a P1. You don't want to be a P2 or P3. Yeah.
I agree. Yep. Size matters. P1's.
No, but seriously,
said.
like, comment, share. It'd be awesome.
Coach Brew, other than
Sir, yes, sir.
Level
Officer Rennie.
what are we talking about today?
We're talking about locations and destinations that have the X factor. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, let's go first. So what do you
I'm wearing the cowboy hat for a very specific reason.
All right, let's go for it. What is your location/destination that you want to talk about?
I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'll tell you the location/destination of my selection. Okay?
Okay.
Fasten your seatbelt, pay attention, listen up, be all ears. Okay? So back in 2015, I took my family on what I thought was, and I think we all agreed upon, was one of the greatest, if not the greatest vacation we've ever taken. So notice I said 2015. This is before Trump was elected, before he built the wall on the Canadian border and made Quebec pay for it. Okay. So we went to the Canadian Maritimes. Really cool trip. If you have vacation time and you want to plan a vacation in New England and then you want to go up to Canada, here's the way to do it. Drive up to Boston, do like Fenway, Faneuil Hall, continue up 95 to Portland, Maine. Spend a day in Portland. There's over 365 restaurants. You could spend a year in Portland and not eat at the same place twice. We're the #1 craft brewing city in 2018. It's a great place. It's right on the water. We have a working waterfront. It's beautiful. And you can pull your car onto a high-speed ferry called the Cat.
Oh, it's not
Park
called the
it-
Blue Nose. It's not called the Blue Nose. It used to be the Blue Nose.
Nope.
years
Yep.
ago.
This is the Cat. And
Ah.
you park your car underneath, and then you walk upstairs, and you can check into your hotel room on the ferry. And it travels overnight from Portland, Maine to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. There's a casino on board with like a little dance club room kind of thing, dance floor, bar. It's awesome. Restaurant overlooking the water on the very front of the ferry. And so you have a good time. And then you retire to your cabin for the evening. In the morning, you will wake up, have breakfast, and you will be in Nova Scotia. And you can drive across Nova Scotia to Halifax, see some sights. That's also a great little food city, working waterfront, really cool. So we did that, and then we drove up to New Brunswick, stayed at a ranch, and went horseback riding for 3 days, continued on from New Brunswick, Canada, up to a place called Prince Edward Island in the Canadian Maritimes. Prince Edward Island, most people have no idea what it is, where it is, and have never heard of it unless you're a parent, typically a mom, and have a little girl,
Yes.
daughter. And then
Yes.
you're familiar with the children's story, Anne of
Yes.
Green Gables, and that
Ah,
series
that's
of
how I know.
books.
That's how I know of it. Yeah. all
That
right.
used to be the only way anyone knew of Prince Edward Island.
Yes.
So we did that trip on 2015. In 2015, my kids were little. We went to see Anne of Green Gables. We went camping at a government-operated campground on the water. It's beautiful. The sand is brown. It's like a dark reddish brown, almost like red clay, but sand, that color. And you could camp out like right on the beach. It's the cleanest campground. Like it's pristine. The bathrooms look like you'd eat off the floor. It's amazing. It's not like a dirty campground like you typically see. It's beautiful. So we went camping, and we found out about this thing called the Cavendish Beach Music Festival.
Mm.
And this is why I think Prince Edward Island, specifically Cavendish in Prince Edward Island, is an X factor, not location, destination. So when you hear Cavendish Beach Music Festival, how do you line up those words and string them together, John?
You're on. I don't know what you're talking about at all.
So you would expect it to be beach music, right?
Well,
Cavendish Beach Music Festival.
yeah, I mean, but beach music is usually for the South, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm really confused.
It's like something you'd expect in the redneck Riviera, right?
Right.
It's not beach music. It's Cavendish Beach Music Festival. So there is this music festival right on the beach in Cavendish.
Wow.
It's country music. I'm a huge country music fan. So you can imagine how I felt about this whole event. And now here's the cool part of it. It's billed. The event is billed as the world's greatest country music festival. Most people haven't heard of it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's located so far off the beaten path. It's basically the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But they've turned this island into a destination for a little over a week every year. Annually, more than 30 country acts converge on PEI, as it's known, Prince Edward Island, and they absolutely rock the faces off more than 70,000 visitors to this tiny, quaint coastal community known as Cavendish.
Wow.
It's not local music. It's not just Canadian acts that Americans have never heard of. It's a freaking who's who of country music. Taylor Swift, back when she was country, played there. Big and Rich, Brad Paisley, Keith Urban, Eric Church. You've heard of all those people, right? They played Cavendish Beach Music Festival. And so what I would encourage you to do is to pull over and look at a map.
Yeah.
If you're driving. If you're not driving, pop up a new window in your browser. Don't turn us off. And just Google Cavendish Beach, Prince Edward Island, Canada. And look how far off the freaking beaten path this place is. It's not the end of the earth, but I'm telling you, you can see it from there on a clear day. You can see the end of the earth from there. Hashtag flat earthers. I'm kidding. But it's the middle of nowhere. And it's become a destination for these platinum and Grammy winning, platinum selling Grammy winning artists.
How do they, I was just thinking to myself, the logistics of this. So you have this big country music festival in the middle of essentially nowhere. I assume the country acts will have like their trailers and where they're going to sleep at night. But what about the fans? Where do they stay? Is there enough hotels on the island to be able to bring the fans out there?
They camp. There are a couple hotels. There are a lot of like motels, kind of traditional old school motor lodges.
Yeah.
There are a ton of campgrounds, including the national one we stayed at. I forget the name of it.
Okay.
But they pack pretty much most of the island. It's a real drivable island.
Yeah.
It's also the home to, I believe, the world's longest bridge. Like the bridge that you have to travel to get to the island from New Brunswick.
Yeah.
It's something like 12 miles long.
It's the Confederation Bridge.
There's only one way on and off, so it's got to be it.
Wow.
And there is no concrete median of any kind in the middle of it.
Wow.
So imagine like getting a flat tire, having an accident, something, and you're on this long. How long is it, Parker? Can you Google how long that bridge is?
Yeah,
it's like a world record-setting bridge. And you get stuck out there, you're screwed. It's 2 lanes each way. That's it. Wild. Imagine traveling that in the dead of winter up there.
What was the name of the bridge again?
Just Google PEI bridge.
Yeah, I saw that it was Confederation. I don't know what that's why, but Confederation Bridge.
Oh, here we go.
So this, let me know when you find it. But like this event has an economic impact to that tiny little island of like $15 to $20 million each year. It's 3 days. I said it was about a week. It's actually 3 days of music. Think about that.
So I found it. It is 13 kilometers, but in miles, that is 8 miles long.
Okay.
8.078 miles long.
Wow.
That's insane.
On a windy day? No thanks.
You know how many people live on Prince Edward Island, by the way?
I'm not sure. I'm sure you're saying that for a reason, though. How many?
Yeah, it's 150,000. So that's it. And so you put out this festival and you bring, I don't know how many people come out to the festival. You probably double the amount of people on that island. It's crazy. That is really crazy.
It's for me, it's just a shining example of the power of focus and strategic partnerships. And in just a couple short years, it's become an international destination, has garnered a ton of media attention. Artists want to play this festival because it's kind of a vacation of sorts. They bring their families. They get to go up there, and if they have little girls, their wife get to take their little girls to Anne of Green Gables. We did a tour of Anne of Green Gables. You get to see the house. You get to see where the books were written, the room, the desk, the pens, the paper, all that. And you got to take a carriage ride with a couple big Belgian horses pulling this carriage. And they give you like a narrated tour and tell you all the stories. It's really cool. So there's like that side of the island and the destination, but then there's a music festival, which just brings a huge influx of people. Became friendly with the the festival's president, who's also Jeff Squires. He's also the CEO of Prince Edward Island Beer Company, craft brewer up there. And he basically said their isolation's advantage. You know, you have pristine beaches, camping, awesome dining. And strangely, you're really far north, but because they're so protected, they have some of the warmest waters north of the Carolinas, which is really nice. And it used to just be a cow pasture out there that they turned into a destination for this festival. It's huge.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. So if you think about that, like what are the hidden strengths of your community, your business, your property, whatever it is? And how can it might seem like initially like a disadvantage. You're isolated, you're small, you're this, you're that, you know, you're not well known, you're way off the beaten path. You know, it's a cow pasture, so to speak. Well, how can you leverage that and turn that into like a hidden strength that becomes publicly known? And I bet there's something right under your nose, just like that, if you just apply a little brain power and get creative. That's why I love this event. I just think that, you know, they have the same assets any small town or any little island of 150,000 people have. And it's just the power of alignment. And they all have kind of aligned and rallied around the same purpose. It's something everyone looks forward to.
I love it. Prince Edward Island.
It's beautiful.
It's not just a location, it's a destination.
Yep. X Factor stuff.
X Factor stuff.
Yep. And they partner with charities to raise money. They raise almost $2 million for charity each year they put on this event.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so it's win-win.
Win-win.
So yeah, think big, start small. Turn what you're doing into a destination.
I love it. So
what do you got for us, John?
I'm going to talk about a nothing that turned into a destination too. I mean, I think the two are really related, and we didn't, compare our notes before we had this episode. But I am going to talk about. I think that's important
for people to know before you jump into your side of it.
Yeah,
for those of you who are new to the pod, if you're not a P1 yet, you are learning that we just choose a topic like X Factor brands, X Factor drinks, X Factor locations, X Factor. What else have we done? Animals,
bands.
Yeah. We don't say, "Hey, I'm going to do this. What do you think about that?" We each just bring a different one to the party and learn about what the other one shares as we go. I'm learning as you're learning.
Yep. And what would be really great is if people could comment down below and tell us what we should talk about. That would bring up some topics. That would be really cool.
If you're enjoying this, you wouldn't want us to run out of ideas. So we'd run out of episodes. If you're invested, and P1s are invested, or maybe you're a P2, this is a great way to graduate or ascend up into becoming a P1. Share with us subject matter you'd like us to cover.
And we'll do it.
X Factor fruit, X Factor vegetables, X Factor breeds of dog.
Boots.
Yeah, with the fur.
With the fur. So what do you got, John?
So let's talk about a destination. We're going to talk about the most magical place on Earth. You know what that
would be? Wuhan, China. I mean, it's a serious X Factor location. I love guessing, and I'm always right. I always guess it correctly when you say we're going to talk about, and you give us like a little descriptor before you see the actual thing or place. I always guess it. And this time, I know you're talking about Wuhan, China. That's some serious X Factor There ain't any other place that's caused a global pandemic.
That's right. So we're going to talk
Magical.
about Wuhan, China.
They've
No, we're not
convinced the
talking
world that a bat in a wet market caused this when they unleashed it out of a lab and it was man-made. That's some serious X Factor shit.
That
right
is
there.
some serious X Factor.
Good call, John.
Yes. We are not doing Wuhan, sadly.
Damn.
The other most magical place on earth, and that is
Those rare occasions I was wrong.
yes, this time. We're going to talk about Disney.
Cue up sad music, Parker.
So we're going to talk about Disney World in Kissimmee, Florida, just south of Orlando. Have you guys been to Disney World?
Wait, Disney World isn't in Orlando? It's in Kissimmee?
It's in Kissimmee, actually.
Kissing me, Florida.
It is south
Yep.
of Orlando, Florida. Yes, you guys been there?
Oh,
I
yeah.
have.
All right. So
Small world. It's a small world after all. We've all been there.
well, it's kind of a big deal though, So
See
what's
what I just did
interesting-
there?
Yeah.
Listeners, see what I just did there? Yeah.
Yeah, so it is the most visited vacation resort in the world, right? With 58 million visitors annually.
Slightly more than Prince Edward Island. Just by a little
Million.
bit, yeah.
Million. So what's interesting about
Billions and billions of dollars.
so the interesting thing about Disney World itself is the fact that it was nothing in the 1960s. It was essentially swampland, grazing land for cattle, but it was basically nothing until Walt Disney decided to bring his band of gypsies there and build what is now the most the visited vacation resort in the world. And I just think it's really fascinating. So kind of a little bit of the story is that, Walt Disney, he opened up a resort in California called Disneyland. And he did that in 1955, but he wasn't able to buy up enough land. And it wasn't too long after it got going that Disneyland was surrounded by like cheap hotels and tourist shops and t-shirt shops. And so it didn't get the vibe that he wanted. So he said, I need
It's kind of like the Bunny Ranch in Nevada is just sort of surrounded by cheap casinos. and
exactly.
gambling
That's
places.
exactly
Yeah, gotcha.
what I think I'm saying. But anyways, so he said, next time I do this, I want bigger. And so they actually created this plan, and it was called Project X. And they were to just try to find a lot of land, and they wanted to find it as cheap as possible. So that was the big thing.
So,
And
John,
yeah,
can I? I'm going to
Yeah.
ask if I can interrupt instead of
Yeah.
just interrupting like I did
Sure.
the last 7 times.
Yeah.
So I just looked up Project X, and if you
Yeah.
look really close, like you zoom in on the Google images for Project X, when you Google like Project
Yeah.
X Disney World, it actually says Factor
X.
in really small print.
I know.
So you're like your psychic powers are through the roof, dude.
I know. That's why I liked it. It was Project X.
Factor.
And, so, he said he wanted to find some property that, again, the land had to be cheap. They had to be close to highways, had to be close to a major city. And so what's interesting is Florida was one of the places that they went to. And the legend is that Walt Disney was flying over this area, which this turns out to be Kissimmee, Florida. And between the intersection of I-4 and 192 in Florida. And he said, this is the spot. What's interesting. So, and so he said,
Those are his exact words.
well, that's what legend says. This is the spot.
I thought his exact words were, "This is going to be almost as cool as Wally World."
He might have said that.
Parker's laughing.
uh,
He doesn't even know what Wally World is, does he?
I have heard of Wally World.
What's Wally
The
World?
mo-
I'm gonna look it up just to make
If
sure.
you heard of it, would you
Front.
need to look it up?
I've heard that word before, Wally World.
John.
Well, the moose out front should have told you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
it's-
folks. Park's closed. Yeah, movie quote.
Yep.
Got him again. Go ahead.
So he's like, all right, well, I got to find this cheap land somewhere. So Florida became the place. They actually had Project Florida. Then once they decided that was going to be it. But then how do you buy up 27,000 acres of land without everybody knowing what's going on, right? And then increasing the price of the land, right? He wanted to buy it cheap. So he
How
actually,
did he buy it up?
what's that? So he
How
actually
did he
set
buy
up
it up? Gradually?
yeah, he set up a bunch of dummy companies to buy different sections of land. And some of the companies he set up were, one of it was called MT Lot was the name of the company that used to
As in
buy.
empty lot. Yep.
Yeah. So, and the Latin American Development and Managers Corporation was another one, and Reedy Creek Ranch Corporation was another one. But what's interesting is that they've actually kept Reedy Creek. Reedy Creek is actually a company that actually runs a lot of the services inside of Disney. So Reedy Creek they've kept that name on there. But anyways, they secretly used these companies to buy up all these little segments of land, and eventually they got 27,000 acres of land. And then the media finally figured out what was going on. So when Walt started buying the property, he was paying $8 an acre for the property. And he was able to put together 27,000 acres and then created this. And of course, once the news got out that Disney was buying up this land, the price of the land went from $80 to $80,000 an acre. So people got wind of it. So he basically did it by stealth. But what's interesting, I think the X factor is, I want to show you this drawing, and I'm going to put it up for those of you who are watching on TV. And this is a very famous drawing that Walt Disney did. And I think that's really what the story is that really has got me. He actually drew this drawing, and it was his vision for the company. And he actually put this drawing together in 1957. He drew this drawing. And what it was all of the various businesses that he wanted to have in his company. So he wanted to have, so everything from theatrical films to merchandising, licensing, TV. He wanted to have the theme parks. He wanted to have comic strips, publications, magazines, music, and they all fed off each other. If you see, there's all these connecting lines. He knew that.
What would you call that? It's not a Venn diagram. It's like what? Some sort of pictogram with.
Yeah, it's like a pictogram. It's basically it was his vision for what the Walt Disney company.
Mind map is the word I was thinking.
Yeah, it's a little bit
like a spider web.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's crazy is he did this in 1959, right? And what is Disney today? Well, Disney is all those things that have come to fruition. It was all about vision and executing on that vision.
Yep.
And I think it's a remarkable story. So we think of Disney as, oh, it's location, and yeah, now they own Star Wars. Now they own, Marvel. They own all this stuff. They're making movies, and, but they were nothing in the past. And it was a
crap location until he turned it into something. Yeah.
It's crazy now. I mean, what did we say? How many millions of visitors every year? 58 million visitors a year. I mean, think about what that's done to the local economy in here in Central Florida. I mean, you can't even, the traffic's crazy when you go down there.
Real estate prices.
Yeah. And so now at Walt Disney
tax base. Yeah.
Walt Disney is now a $65 billion company with 223,000 employees. And it was all based on a little drawing done by a guy named Walt Disney. And he put it all together and he actually made it happen. So my point is, that's an X Factor location. That's an X Factor destination. And it was based on the vision of one great entrepreneur.
The craziest part of all that to me is it's based on that mind map that you showed us.
Yeah.
But if you were to zoom in even more on a really granular level, all of that, everything he's done is because of one mouse. If you think about it, it all started with one mouse.
Started with a mouse. Started with a cartoon. Started with a comic.
The TV executives told him it was a horrible idea that would be a miserable failure, and no one would like it. Kids would be creeped out and freaked out and scared of it, which shows you how little most network executives and gatekeepers know about anything.
Yeah. But the other thing is, if you're building a business, you're building a brand, think about this drawing, and you can look it up. All you have to do is search, Disney vision drawing. And, what are the elements of your business? How are you making money? How are they connected? I just think it's brilliant that he had that vision. And not only that, he executed on the vision, which is, and now it's one of the biggest, global brands out there right now, 65 billion in sales. I mean, that's nuts.
And your vision's got to be stronger than other people's negativity and skepticism.
Yeah. Especially when we're flying around in the middle of swampland, trying to build a theme park. It's unbelievable what he did. And then just to sneak in and buy up all this land under these supposed, kind of shell corporations.
MT Lot
MT Lot, that was my
LLC.
favorite one. Yeah, MT Lot was
They should have kept that one.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out to Walt Disney. He passed away even before the park was actually built, which is kind of sad. He never got to see it, but
I think he saw it.
Yeah, no, he saw it. He had a vision
yeah.
of it. Yeah. But the park opened up in 1971 in October, and right now has 77,000 employees. So that's a little bit more than my company. So crazy.
How many employees?
77,000 in Walt Disney. So they have
76,999,999 more than my company.
Exactly. On the location, they have 30,000 acres, which is 80 times the size of the nation of Monaco, twice the size of Manhattan, and the same size as San Francisco. They have 4 theme parks and 27 resort hotels on this 30,000 acres. Unbelievable. Great wow. Story of success and having a vision and executing on it.
And this is diving into kind of the business side of it. One of the more recent and fascinating parts of Disney World to me is, and it's a great example of kind of building a moat around your business.
Yeah.
A proverbial moat around your business. What have they done? They've priced it all in such a way that they've made it more financially attractive from a cost standpoint, but also from a value standpoint for you to always choose to stay on property.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they've priced the food and beverage to make it more attractive for you to choose to eat at their dining facilities on property as opposed to going off property. Like, they don't want some of your money. They want all of it.
They want all of it. Yeah.
But it also guarantees that they control every aspect of the guest experience. None of it's left up to chance or somebody else who isn't part of their brand portfolio, if you will.
Yeah. And they're the masters of merch too. I mean, they literally will repurpose rides to reflect a new movie that they've got out. And then they have all the merchandise that goes along with it, like the little baby Yoda, dolls.
Oh yeah. That made so much money.
They made so much money. It's nuts actually. And actually, that the whole baby Yoda thing was all about getting people on Disney Plus. It was a way to get them hooked and people subscribe. I have a Disney Plus membership. I have no kids at my house. Why do I have a Disney Plus? Because I want to watch The Mandalorian, right? So they hooked us all. Amazing.
And what else do they do? It's just like subtle, but not so subtle if you're a parent, subtle if you're a kid. At the end of every ride, you almost always have to walk through a gift shop to get out.
Oh, I love that.
Like every major attraction, you have to walk through a gift shop to get out.
Yeah. And you're 6
and what happens? The kids get hooked on like a baby Yoda doll or this or that, or, princess dress costume.
Yeah.
And they find a way not to get some of your money, but to get all of it.
They want all of it.
The fast passes. Like another example of wonderful upsell opportunity for them. Yeah.
But I will say the fast passes are if you really want to ride every ride, I would say get them.
Oh yeah.
It is Disney makes it to where they know that each ride or each entertainment thing that you're going to see or do or whatever it may be, they make it to where it's almost a necessity to have, or else you're going to wait for I'm pretty sure I waited. There was one time we were waiting in line, and I think it was so long that they actually started telling people to put in their names online, and they would contact them when to come back, because it was past 2.5 hours or 3 hours or something like that. It was crazy. And the line was so long that it was leaking out into the actual main part, because we were in Magic Kingdom, and the line went out into the road where everyone was walking through. So it was blocking people from walking. It was crazy.
It's found money. They didn't always have a fast pass.
Yep.
Yep.
What they found was there's a certain percentage of the population. This doesn't just hold true for amusement parks. Your business, as you're listening to this, is in this story. There's a certain percentage of the population that will always be willing to pay for convenience.
Yep.
They'll always be willing to pay to automatically jump to the front of the line.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Hell, you're
Steve-
seeing that with vaccines. People are trying to find a way to jump the line to get the vaccine first.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but also I think there's another company. Shout out to Peak Demand
Oh yeah.
because
Never heard of them. What are they?
I don't know. Can you describe them for us?
That's my company, Peak Demand. Yeah, we are a manufacturing company that supplies products to electric utilities. Doesn't sound very exciting, but our claim to fame is we're the fastest in the industry. So we ship in 24 hours, where our competitors ship in 6 to 8 weeks, and sometimes right now some of our competitors are at 22 weeks.
Everybody gets a fast pass.
Yeah, so you get a
Convenience.
fast
Come
pass
on.
when you come to me.
Convenience.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You think
but-
about it, like easy passes, easy pass on the East
Yes.
Coast, like tolls.
Yep.
People are willing to pay for convenience.
Yep.
So if you're looking for another way to monetize your business and you're not going to add a product to your product suite, you're not going to invent a new service, like how can we
Yep.
just get people to pay for
I
convenience?
think that drawing, that Disney drawing, I think you should make that with your business, with your organization, with your brand. What are the ways that you can make money, and how are they interrelated, and how can they build on each other? I think Disney is a master at this, and they have made money in every aspect of the game, and it's incredible. We could do multiple episodes on Disney, but I just think this idea of having a vision and executing a vision that is masterful, I think they are definitely, that is an X factor destination by far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
So we got the Cavendish Beach Music Festival, located where?
Prince Edward Island,
Prince Edward Island,
Canada.
Canada. I love it. And then you've got Disney World, the most magical place on earth, according to their marketing story. Not Hogwarts. I would think Hogwarts is the most magical place on earth, but that's not true.
Hogwarts can be found on the Disney property.
No.
And my children have like the $50 Harry Potter magical wand to prove it.
That's
from the gift
Universal.
shop.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh
Universal.
gosh,
That's the other guys.
You caused a whole war right there. you just caused a whole split in our viewers. Universal and
that?
Disney, because that's
the Universal theme parks. That's the competition.
The
It's
competition.
a Disney-owned property, isn't it?
No, it's outside of the Disney.
Well, not
Really?
today, John, but give it a week and it probably will be.
Yeah,
I just, I just lump them all together and think it's Disney because
that's what I do too.
big and all encompassing,
Yep.
You say I just started a war among our listeners, but I actually think there are probably a lot of people who just assume Universal's part of the overall Disney umbrella, like me, because it just seems so all encompassing. And
yeah.
when you think of Orlando, you think of Disney. You don't think of a lot of these other things,
Yep.
And what blows my mind, just to kind of just a little fact, is that you have Universal, Disney, and you have SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Literally, I kid you not, you could basically run to all those places,
Yep.
which I wouldn't recommend. It would be unless you're into that.
And Gatorland.
That sounds like a blast.
Well, it's old Florida. It's a fun.
And
place
Carol
to go.
Baskin's Tiger Refuge.
Yes,
Where is that
yes.
in Florida?
Is it in Florida or?
Hold
is she
on.
in
It is.
Florida?
Parker, look it up. I guarantee you it's near Orlando. It's got to be. Yeah, and Carol Baskin did kill her husband, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And fed her to the tigers.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yep, it says in Florida. Let me see.
Because his Joe Exotic's other competitors in Myrtle Beach, Doc
Right.
Antle.
Yeah.
And then Joe is where? Oklahoma?
He was in Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's some other crazy one in Ohio.
Was the Tiger Rescue or something like that, right?
Yep, here it is. It is.
Carol Baskin.
Oh, I think it's in Tampa, Florida.
Not far.
Okay.
Yep.
Big Cat Rescue. That's
Yep.
it.
Tampa,
Big cat
Florida.
rescue in Tampa, Florida. So that is
Hey, all
another.
you crazy cats and kittens out there.
You do that well.
Yep.
So that's it for the X Factor podcast today. And if you like this podcast, please share it, like it, rate it, review it, move up, and become a P1 listener.
Yeah, leave us a voicemail at thexfactorpodcast.com and you could be featured on this podcast. If you have a topic you'd like us to touch on, or something, someone, a product, a service, something that you think is X Factor in nature, share that with us. We might talk about it. We might give you a shout out.
Yep.
So yeah, do everything that my fearless leader, co-host Jon Rennie over there told you to do. Rate, review, comment, leave a voicemail, all that good stuff. And yeah, you could become a P1 and your world will forever be revolutionized. You're welcome.
You're welcome. That's it.
Good night now.
Good night.